Anthropology में, if it is done properly, if you do whatever I tell you in the right sequence, in the right order, you can actually guarantee yourself a very high, a very stable score. Many of them are very, very young. Okay, so this was a student who did not clear prelims for 5 attempts, worked extremely hard this year. One mains is all it took to actually score. In fact, made a very, very, very strong case for a top 100. Because of anthropology. Anthropology overall, अगर आप देखोगे, it is the study of ourselves. It's a study of humans. Okay, the study of me, it is a study of you, it is a study of our closest relatives as well. I'm telling you, your improvement in anthropology is going to be like very, very quick. In 4 months, you can be, you're going to be much better than what you would probably expect. Don't think that when I am in my peak capacity and peak alertness and peak everything, I'm going to do it. नहीं होता है. Even if you're not in UPSC का line, ठीक है, you will be able to look at society very differently, right? In a more mature kind of a manner. You'll be able to understand people, their behavior a lot differently, right? In comparison to the others. So the goal here is very simple. Clear your UPSC in your very first attempt. Welcome to Anthropology Foundation Batch 2027. My name is Nataraj. I'll be your faculty. So let me tell you very clearly in the next 30 minutes or so, right? As clear as possible what this program is going to be about, right? I don't want you to think that this is just a class where you cover your syllabus, right? This is a complete system that is designed to help you, first of all, actually to do 3 things. Pehla wala is, and I think this is the most basic and the most foundational thing, which is to understand anthropology very deeply, okay? At in-depth level. Second thing, in this foundation itself, to be able to write like a ranker, right? You're going to get your chance, you're going to clear your prelims, you're going to write your mains, but I want you to really think and visualize that you are a ranker, and the kind of answers that you're writing, let's say the first 200, 300, 400 ke baad, the kind of answers that you write will be like a ranker. Okay, already there, you've not gotten your chance yet, you will get your chance, but you're way before that, you have reached the level of a ranker. And third one is to whatever it takes to be able to score very high in optional. वो कैसे करना है? All 3 of these things I will just tell you. Why is this important that you understand? This is not just कि syllabus को cover करेंगे. Time is limited. Okay. You are going to be writing for 2027, right? So every month or every 2 months or every 3 months, every quarter, right, you should have something जहाँ पे you look back and say, you know what, I've actually worked a lot and I have gotten this done, this done, this done, right? वहाँ पे I want Anthro to feel like it is actually done. Your foundation is done. You're kind of ready. You've written a good volume of answers. When you say it is done, it should not be that in your head it is done, right? What is tangible, like कितना लिखा है आपने, कितना आपने read किया है, कितना, मतलब you get the picture, right? There should be something tangible out of it. So why this is important is optional becomes very important. In fact, it is the only paper where you can really dominate. Right? And I think this is something that you must have already heard if you haven't, but optional में the scores are not all clustered. ठीक है? GS, essay, even prelims अगर आप देखोगे, right? More or less most of the students are going to be in similar sort of a range. ठीक है? And थोड़ा सा unpredictability भी है GS में, essay में and so on, but it's kind of clustered, plus or minus 10. But यहाँ पे it could be plus or minus 50, 60, and that is morning. It could be another 50, 60 in your afternoon wala slot as well, right? So there are 2 anthropology 1 and anthropology paper 2 भी होंगे. ठीक है? इंटरव्यू ऑल्सो अगर आप देखोगे वहां पे भी थोड़ा सा अनप्रेडिक्टेबिलिटी है, बट एंथ्रोपोलॉजी में इफ इट इज डन प्रॉपरली, इफ यू डू वॉट एवर आई टेल यू इन द राइट सीक्वेंस, in the right order, you can actually guarantee yourself a very high, a very stable score, right? When you go ahead, write, finish, come out in the evening, you will be able to tell, sir, I'm actually feeling like I have written in so and so kind of manner, jahan pe I feel like I'm in so and so range. Okay, I'm going to get 140 plus in paper 1, I'm going to score 160 in in paper 2. You can get that feeling. Okay, and more or less plus or minus 10 भी होंगे, right? उससे ज़्यादा नहीं होता है. This is your anthropology. Anthropology का एक बड़ा benefit है ये. Is this clear? So the goal here is very simple. Clear your UPSC in your very first attempt. Okay? Clear UPSC in your very first mains. Right? Some of you have already told me that you have attempted prelims. It's fine. Okay? I'm saying that when you clear your first prelims, usi saal you want to clear your, you want to be on that list. So visualize that, right? I'm going to get a chance. Right? When I clear my prelims, right, there is a list that year with my name on it. Visualize करो. ठीक है? As soon as you start scrolling down, immediately first page में है. ठीक है? और first में है. However you want to kind of visualize, but make that kind of visualization. Okay? And that is kind of possible if you have very strong optional का score. ठीक है, if you have a very strong optional score, strong anthropology का score, you can actually make it in your very first year. Anthropology syllabus is relatively less in comparison to many other topics, or so they say. ठीक है, but you can use that as an advantage. ठीक है, but I wouldn't make too much of it, because what is the syllabus for you is the same as everybody else you're competing with in anthropology. So this is the mindset that you want to start with. एक means, मेरा पहला means, the first time I clear my prelims and when I write my means, ठीक है, I want to be in the rank list. ठीक है, visualize this. Many of our students have actually done it in their very first mains as well. ठीक है, and many of these students have actually done it in their very first mains with me. ठीक है, and many of them are very, very young. ठीक है, so this was a student who did not clear prelims for 5 attempts, worked extremely hard this year. One mains is all it took to actually score. In fact, made a very, very, very strong case for a top 100, because of anthropology. 160 plus in paper 1, paper 2 mein, the student ka, there was a big blunder. You can go and watch the video. It's on Sarathi ka channel, or Learn with Nataraj YouTube channel, or Sarathi optional channel. ठीक है, वहाँ पे आप होगा. You can go and take a look. Although Aditya was been with me for 2 years before that as well, and the year in which he was with me, 3rd year, right, he made it to rank number 9. You can see many of them, right? Again, so first mains, and these two kids were like 22 years, 21, 22 years old when they made it. IPS, IRS, right? But you get the picture. Okay, so you have most of, I think almost barring 2-3, all of them have been, in just one mains. I'll go through that in just a second, but I'm just telling you what is possible and what should be your target, right? But before we go into all of this, first of all, you have to understand what exactly is anthropology, right? And I'm not sure exactly how you have landed in anthropology. Maybe that is also something that you can tell me. But I will tell you, it is a good decision, right? I have students, in fact, Yashaswini, right? This particular student who was like 21, 22, when she had made it, right? She just walked into the first class that she had attended for UPSC after college was an orientation by me in anthropology. I did not know what exactly is anthropology, BA student, okay, and ended up making it in the very first, mains and so on at a very young age, right? So sometimes, and she always says, it was just lucky, call it whatever, coincidence, serendipity, right? Whatever, right? But sometimes, but I would tell you the same thing, right? Anthropology is actually good. It's a good subject for everybody. Nobody has any big advantage in anthropology. Nobody has a big disadvantage, right? So agar aapko mathematics lena hai, ya somebody said triple E, right? Electrical engineering aapko lena hai, you've got to be, good at electrical engineering. You've got to have that bent of mind. You want to be taking mathematics, you have to have that bent of mind. You want to take literature, you have to have that bent of mind. But nobody knows anthropology. Okay? Anthropology is a subject that is a little of multiple subjects. ठीक है, and bachelor's के लिए है, but very few people end up taking it. So mostly is a subject only for UPSC, and it is a fair game for every person. Whether you're any kind of academic field के लिए, you will have something that there will be things that you don't know, but it's doable for everybody. ठीक है, so anthropology overall अगर आप देखोगे, it is the study of ourselves. It's a study of humans. ठीक है, the study of me, it is a study of you, it is a study of our closest relatives as well. Now, you think about this. When you study history, you're studying past events. When you're studying, let's say, polity or political science, you're studying governance and those kind of aspects. Okay? There's a particular field that is very clear. But when it comes to anthropology, right, you study anything and everything that is related to humans. Right? That comes under the purview of anthropology. Of course, UPSC ka anthropology is relatively shorter in syllabus. You don't study everything regarding yourselves. Selected topics humne padhna hai. But anthropology ka scope is very wide, right? Anything to do with humans essentially is what you study, right? For example, from where did we start, right? How have we evolved to become like this, right? Our societies are like this today. How did the society essentially form like this, right? Why do you have different kind of cultures? What are those different cultures and how are they different? Is this clear? Even very simple things, right? Why do some people basically eat with their hands, whereas others, eat with a lot of cutlery, with a lot more rules, right? Why are there certain sort of groups of people, right? Certain castes, certain tribes, right? Jahan pe they practice polyandry, meaning there is one woman who's married to multiple men, or those men might be brothers, or the other way around, polygamy, polygyny वगैरह जो हम कहते हैं, which is like one man with multiple sort of wives, different sort of cultures, different variants, right? How do humans have different kind of body types, right? So depending upon whether I come from the tropics or the equatorial region, or whether I come from the polar regions, or if I come from high altitude sort of regions, right? We all have different body types. We have different, our body works differently. Okay, my body does not work like a Sherpa's, Tibetan Sherpa's, right? It will not do well. right? They will be able to thrive in that environment. We will not be able to. They probably will not be able to thrive in the subtropics, where we are from, and we might be. Although I don't thrive in subtropics either. Okay, equatorial. The summers are. I don't think summer is. It's been a very difficult summer, this one. So net, coming back, everything comes under the purview of anthropology. Okay. If you break this down, the word anthropology, right? You can break this down into, मतलब उसका etymology अगर आप देखोगे, it is anthropos, which essentially means human, and logia का मतलब है the study or the systematic study or the scientific study. So anthropology is the systematic or scientific study of humans all the way, from their origin, millions of years ago, all the way till present day. ठीक है? So from fossils and हमारे great ancestors like Homo erectus, right? To modern day human society, urban society, rural society, all of this is part of anthropology. So subject overall, anthropology is not small, but the UPSC ka syllabus, so far as anthropology is concerned, is relatively limited. I think that's what many students feel. So it is a subject that connects, many things about humans, right? Biology, the culture, the society, ठीक है, उनका history and so on. So overall, anthropology क्या है? If you look at it, it is a study of humans and it's study of different aspect of humans. अभी इसका structure अगर आप देखोगे, ठीक है, it's important that you understand this, right? You have to understand, what you're studying, right? UPSC anthropology essentially has 2 papers. Paper 1 in the morning you will have 3 hours, and then you'll have paper 2 for 3 hours in the afternoon. Okay? Paper 1 is kind of like the foundation, right? It is like the foundation. It has, and this is the 6 modules in which we are going to do it. Okay? And I'll tell you how exactly they're organized as well, right? So you have biological, physical anthropology, right? Which means you're going to study evolution, right? We are going to study basics of genetics, right? You're going to find out, whether you're going to go bald, whether you don't go bald. Of course, you cannot say with certainty, okay? But you can at least say that, there is a risk factor, right? And it's kind of important because it's not only about skin tone, it's not only about height, it is not only about, whether you're going to go bald or not. Okay? It has importance because there are certain diseases that are actually genetic. Okay? It is inherited, right? In order for us to understand. So for example, there is something called as breast cancer, right? Breast cancer basically has a very strong genetic component to it. Okay? How does it work, right? And human variation that we talked about, why people in the tropics are different from the people in the polar, and how the people in the high altitude regions are slightly different, right? So understanding different skin tones and colors and all those kind of things. Another module is going to be theories and linguistic anthropology and some miscellaneous. Although this is a short portion, these 2 are actually relatively shorter. But theories is basically about what every academic discipline has its own kind of theories. What came first? How did we refine those ideas? Right? Functionalism kya hai? How do you basically look at culture or a particular trait? Okay? And then find out what is its role. Uska function kya hai? That is one way of looking at things. Another thing is about looking at the structure of things, okay? And so on. Okay? One is basically looking at how things have evolved. Are there any kind of clear rules about how things evolve? That is another one. Linguistics is about, language, how language diverges, how language is similar, right? How languages shape thought, right? Although linguistic anthropology, hamare liye, it is relatively smaller. Then research methods. Research methods are, right? If you're a practicing anthropologist, right? How do you go about and practice? So for example, I've just made a video and it's about Chola Naikans, right? A very small group in Kerala, from Malappuram, Palakkad district. It's only 191 people in that entire society. Okay, how do you essentially go and study that society as a practicing anthropologist? Of course, you're not going to be a practicing anthropologist. You're going to be an theoretical anthropology trained administrator. But if you were, and doing research in it, in a parallel universe, right? आप क्या करोगे? Participant observation करोगे, ठीक है? Will you talk to every 191 people in order to get some data? नहीं, you might talk to a few. Sampling कैसे करोगे? ठीक है? How will you choose whom to basically discuss with, and what should I do? Interview? Should I do? You understand, no? So there are certain kind of methods that are used in anthropology. Both qualitative भी है, quantitative भी है. ठीक है? That is another module. Third module is going to be sociocultural anthropology, and we are starting with this this coming week. ठीक है? And sociocultural anthropology is basically study about societies and culture. ठीक है? यहाँ पे essentially we study certain kind of social institutions, we call it, and social institution का मतलब है, in fact you have 6 social institutions in our syllabus, right? Marriage, family, okay, relations or kinship, economic institutions, political institutions, religious institutions in every society. ठीक है, दिस इज योर सोशल कल्चरल एंथ्रोपोलॉजी, दैट्स इट. मतलब हमारे टॉपिक, देयर आर सो मेनी इंस्टीट्यूशंस इन द वर्ल्ड, बट हमारे सिलेबस में वी हैव 6 इंस्टीट्यूशंस दैट आर गिवन. ठीक है, so that is another one. Then you have archaeofossils and primates. This is another kind of module which I will discuss a little. Basically this one, no? Right? So these 3 are purely paper 1, right? These 2 are purely paper 2, and then this particular module is, we are going to do it combined. ठीक है, so you have archaeology. Archaeology is something that आपके ancient history में the first few Indus Valley civilization या उसके पहले उसके बाद में whatever is there, right? So history में how did we, when did we use stone tools, when did we use metal tools, which metal came first, which metal came second, ये वाला एक topic है. ठीक है, so this, whether it is in the world somewhere else or whether it's in India, the tools are the same, the metals are the same, your copper tools are the same, your bronze tools are the same, your iron tools are the same. So we'll do this combined. ठीक है, it'll help you connect them better. ठीक है, fossils means who are your ancestors. ठीक है, हमारे hominin ancestors कौन है, homo erectus, homo habilis, okay, उस टाइप के कुछ groups are there, some found in India, some found elsewhere as well. So यहाँ पे also we'll study them together. And then you have primates. Primates are the closest relatives. For example, we have some primates in India, rhesus monkeys वगैरह आपने देखा होगा, right? Grey langur आपने देखा होगा, right? To some extent you have them, especially the closer ones, like chimpanzees closely related to us, right? Gorillas, orangutan, right? So you must have heard of these guys as well, like gibbons. Gibbons, you have them in your northeast India, right? So that is that. So that is another one. Then you have paper 2. Okay, paper 2 ka some portion from here, okay, and then you have the rest of it is Indian society and tribal India. And the main focus here is to understand, this is the application part. So let's say this is all the concepts and everything that we have, how to study social institutions and so on, and this is essentially the application to Indian aspect, Indian society, and specifically tribal society of India within Indian society. ठीक है, यहाँ पे क्या होंगे, right? Primarily the goal is to study vulnerable groups, right, of India. ठीक है, that's why I say there's a lot of connecting with your GS4 ethics, GS2. Literally यहाँ पे also you have groups of syllabus में दिया होगा vulnerable groups. यहाँ पे you have to specifically study, the scheduled caste, the scheduled tribes, their issues, OBC groups, linguistic minorities, religious minorities. मतलब बहुत सारे ऐसे groups are there you're going to be studying. You have to be probably one of the experts in entire India with regard to tribal development issues. ठीक है, with regard to forest rights and those kind of issues, with regard to many identity movements आपके north east में, आपके बस्तर में, right, your Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, those kind of issues as well. So remember, paper 1 is kind of like giving you the tools, right, and paper 2 is essentially how it is being put to use in India. If your paper 1 is strong, ठीक है, your paper 2 becomes strong automatically. Automatically नहीं होगा, ठीक है, but of course you have to put in. But each and every one of these things are going to be standalone. ठीक है, this is standalone, this is standalone, this is standalone, this is standalone. You can start anywhere. Anything that I start, I'm going to start from the very basic. In fact, every lecture also I'm going to start from the very basics of that lecture. Is that clear? So see how to make the most out of this particular course, right? This is the most important thing. See, how do you actually improve? How do you start at, let's say, a 0 or even let's say a -10? That is totally fine. A very simple system, but the most efficient system that gets me the result in for you in just about very first means, right? How do you make the most out of it? 4 steps you've got to do during your foundation. Pehla wala is come to class. ठीक है, class and conceptual clarity. In class, don't just listen. ठीक है, participate, interact, understand, right? If I teach you natural selection, you should be able to explain it in your own sort of words. You should be able to connect it better. You should be able to ask questions and so on. ठीक है, यहाँ पे don't constrain yourself in terms of कि क्या लिखना है. ठीक है, that comes much later. पहले just be very open and analyze it, learn it in every different kind of dimension as possible, right? That's the first step. Understand. You have to understand. You cannot think that I will just क्या पढ़ना है वो मैं पढ़ लूंगा या पढ़ लूंगी. That's not the right attitude. ठीक है, understand. If a person का paper में understanding है या मतलब रट के लिख रहे हैं, it becomes very easy to understand. मतलब 10 to 15 pages if I read, I'll be able to tell कि who's who. ठीक है, दूध का दूध, पानी का पानी becomes very easy. And if I can do it, ठीक है, all your evaluators any year, they're going to be able to do it without much difficulty. Second step is after the class, I'm going to provide you with the handouts, right? Then you can read your handouts. Again, not passive reading. ठीक है, it is about active understanding and how do I basically use this, in order to do my step number 3, which is to write assignment, right? And again, वहाँ पे अगर आप देखोगे ना, like you have to Like, see, for example, I might say there's something called as a Bergman's rule. Don't just see, okay, it's a fact. Okay, you have to think. So what kind of body size basically changes with climate, right? Do I know any kind of examples, right? So thoda sa, engage with it. Okay, but whenever you're reading your handouts, please just see to it that I give you these assignments. It is going to be assignment heavy course, right? Because how much ever you can write, I'm not sure if everybody is going to be able to write the same amount. Okay, there will be some of you who will do more, some of you will do a little less, right? It depends on where you are in your mental, psychological, right? आपका fight कितने हैं at this particular point, right? But do as much as you can. And assignments are going to be open book, but that does not mean it is easy, because the way I phrase those questions is like you understand the concept, but you still have to think, what do I use? How do I introduce? How do I conclude? What should be my dimensions? How do I craft? Okay, did I validate? How did I substantiate? Right? So I make you think in those assignments. Okay, I might say these are two theories, but I might give you a question that is compare these two. ठीक है, 95% of your questions are going to be PYQs. बहुत सारे questions आप लिखोगे PYQs के, ठीक है, and you will have a huge volume of those kind of answers. Only those questions जहाँ पे there is no question to choose from at all. Sometimes there are some portions of the syllabus जहाँ से questions नहीं आते हैं, वहाँ के लिए I'll make my own sort of questions and give you and so on. Then short notes are also part of this assignment, and both of these things will have very clear deadlines, and I want you to submit it on that particular day. Okay, so for example, you've read 10 pages, I'm going to make you condense that to 1 page. वो एक बार करोगे, that is equivalent to reading those 10 pages 10 times. Is that clear? And then once the foundation is done, if you have done all of these things, then you move to the test series. Test series is a different program, QEP plus. Okay, there will be anyway, we'll talk about this later, but if you have done this part well, यहाँ पे आप जाके dominate करोगे. But this is not only the beginners. ठीक है, test series is a different program जहाँ पे it is students who are already written mains, people who have written mains and done well in anthropology, people who have gone to interview, people who have already in the list, they want to improve their rank, everybody is going to be there. This is आप कैसे what is your rank and वो compete करने के लिए, this is the real game. ठीक है, क्रैमिंग वगैरह आपको यहाँ पे करना पड़ेगा. ठीक है, if you follow the system, right, I promise you, this is so structured, this is so efficient that in 3 to 4 months you really feel कि anthropology is your most comfortable subject, your strongest subject. ठीक है, optional is basically something that is master's level, right? GS is essentially school level, right? अगर history पढ़ना है तो like what book do you read? ठीक है, let's say ancient history, medieval history, तमिलनाडु books आप पढ़ोगे, school books, right? or you're going to read old NCERTs, new NCERTs. Well, these are all or the material that is given to you, but those are again it's a combination of these. यहाँ से वो बनाते हैं. ठीक है, geography अगर आपको करना है NCERTs, class 11, class 12, so those school level, this is master's level, very different. But I will still tell you कि if you finish this in 4 months, you're going to feel this is your strongest subject. ठीक है, again send me an intro. ठीक है, and this is something that I will post in your group. ठीक है, your portal, I'll give it to Sarthi team and they will put it up. ठीक है, assignments are very important and उसके लिए कुछ instructions है, but this also tells you that you want to see assignments now, they are kind of important. You have to submit them in a particular way. ठीक है, it has to be submitted in one scanned PDF. You can go through this. There's a proper file naming, right? If you just say कि assignment1.pdf and I download it, and after that there will be so many other students, I just don't know कि किसका है. ठीक है, and you have to maintain only one email thread. Please understand that. So पहला वाला message is going to be something that you compose. उसके बाद everything should be a reply, so that I know your introduction, I know your first message, ठीक है, your first answer, all the way till your mains वाला answer, right? Everything in one particular thread, right? So entire evolution of, let's say SJ or AC or KL or CK, all of those things we should be able to see in one thread. ठीक है, you can so that is that. With regard to assignments, why am I straight? Why deadlines? Because if there is no deadline, ठीक है, see, discipline in small things builds discipline in big things. ठीक है, if you do this well here, ठीक है, I'm telling you, anything you go after these 4 months, whether it is your prelims, whether it is your essay, whether it's your test, whether वहाँ पे आप करोगे, because you've developed the ability to sit down and do it according to deadlines that are given. And that's the whole point here. We are guiding you here. We are basically giving you direction. ठीक है, so this is mentorship. ठीक है, it is not just evaluation, it's not just correction, it's complete mentorship. ठीक है, from start all the way till your final. Generally, I want you to keep in mind, this is same thing, I'll post it there, but you can go through it in your portal. It will be posted in your announcements or in your notice board section. A lot of the course is also going to be about how to start answer writing. You will be starting to do answer writing from maybe the first week or the first couple of weeks. I'm telling you, it's an intensive course, right? To learn anthropology, the foundation, understand it, it's not that difficult. Okay, relatively okay topic here. You just need to know breadth and depth. Once I give you that, you will always be able to. But it's intense because there will be a lot of answer writing, which I will be evaluating it personally, right? And this is where most of the students struggle, okay, because classmate is good, I'm able to understand it, but जाके sir मेरे से बैठा नहीं जाता है, right? I'm not able to sit down every single day. I'm not able to write it. I'm not able to get that routine. So motivation nahi aa rahi hai. ठीक है, but you understand you are not in that crowd. ठीक है, you should not be in that particular crowd. Generally in anthropology you have 3 different types of questions. 10 markers होंगे, 15 markers होंगे and 20 markers होंगे. Okay, GS के लिए आपको ऐसा नहीं होता है. ठीक है, GS में you have only 10 and 15 marker. 150 words, 250 words. यहाँ पे you also have a 20 marker, 350 words. Okay, so for example अगर आप देखोगे, if a question is 10 marker, you don't end up writing 300 words there, right? So you end up writing 150 words. Okay? You cannot write 300 words, you cannot write 80 words, right? The ideal answer should be something that is more or less 150 ke under. Word limit has been given to you. Okay? You must hit the exact range through practice. How do you do this, right? So this is what your page is going to look like. Okay? So what will you have? Generally, you want to keep, and you have to practice this because this is not how you end up writing in your school or in college and so on. So so एक page में अगर आप देखोगे, you should have 15 lines. ठीक है, it takes you some time to get comfortable with, but after that, any time you write, you will have exactly 15-16 lines, right? And if you have 15-16 lines, you know exactly how to write and how much to write and how fast to write it. ठीक है, 10 mark का structure अगर आप देखोगे, it is a 2-page answer, right? Okay, so 2 pages. You can see this 2-page, right? This is an example structure. There'll be an introduction, which is like 4 to 5 lines. Okay, there'll be a conclusion that is 4 to 5 lines, right? You will have some headings, okay, and so on. Clean, simple, complete, and this is how you essentially score. ठीक है, per line generally 5 to 6 words आप लिखोगे. So 15 lines अगर आप देखोगे, it is 75 words to let's say 90 words. ठीक है, so it is that. But let's say कि 5 words here, so you will keep it within 150. You have to be a little careful. If it's a 15 marker, again, if you say 6, right? If it is, let's say 5 to 6 words, right? So it is going to be 90, 90, 90. Yeah, it's going to be 75, 75, 75. It comes to 225 to 260. This is how you basically, right? This is how the layout is going to be. I will again go through this and show you good answers and so on. Okay. And again, if it's a 4-page answer or a 20 marker, in 20 marker, it's going to be like this. So this is essentially how you write. Okay, so this is your UPSC exam ka format, right? I'm telling you in the very beginning itself. Again, so it is not only about knowing the concept, it's about writing for UPSC and how to write for UPSC, right? Overall, agar aap dekhoge, the pattern is going to be that you have 50 pages to write in the morning and you have 3 hours to write it, 9 to 12, and then you have a 2-hour break, lunch वगैरह खाने के बाद, you have to come back, and then uske baad you have to essentially go back and again write 3 hours में 50 pages. ठीक है? That essentially means it is like 3 minutes per page. ठीक है, 3 to max 4 minutes per page. ठीक है, not too much time to think, right, in exam. Right? So what do we do now? Right? So you build clarity in advance. You develop the ability to write answers slowly, so that clarity, that ability to craft, take how to structure, how to sequence, what to prioritize, what to deprioritize, what to emphasize, what to de-emphasize. All of these things you develop in the foundation itself, so that in the next stage, which is your test series, and finally in your exam, writing becomes almost automatic. ठीक है, अभी if you have to drive a car, if you are a person who knows how to drive a car, ठीक है, मतलब आप सोचते नहीं हो, automatically your hand goes here, मतलब if you do manual car अगर है तो मतलब कहाँ पे देखना है, all those things you don't think in terms of step number 1, step number 2, step number 3. But starting में कैसा होता है, oh I'm going at this speed, okay, this is the incline, ठीक है, gear I have to basically उसको down करना है, मतलब समझ रहे हो ना. But later it becomes all automatic, it becomes your muscle memory, and that's exactly what will happen after you're done with this. ठीक है, and assignment I might show you, okay, but this is the kind of like short notes like many of the students would do, right? You can see these, and this is exactly what you will also be doing. These are real examples. Okay. In fact, this could be the most important sort of slide. So if you can see this here, right, what you see here, this is a student, again, in those 3 to 4 months, built this level of personal writing. ठीक है, all based on what has been given to that particular student की करना क्या है. ठीक है, इनिशियली आप स्ट्रगल करोगे, ठीक है, थोड़ा सा कंफ्यूजन रहेगा, थोड़ा सा स्लो रहेगा, ठीक है, इनर्शिया रहेगा, बट यू हैव टू कीप गोइंग जस्ट लाइक दिस पर्टिकुलर स्टूडेंट जहाँ पे यू कीप गोइंग, एंड दिस विल बी द एंड रिजल्ट व्हेन यू लुक एट दिस, लेट्स से 4 months from now, and you can see that this is all your written work. This is not my work. ठीक है, this is not your class का notes or anything. ठीक है, this is basically your work. Imagine this, like how confident, how मतलब आपका ego कितना boost होगा. You understand this, right? And I want the same thing from you. Okay? Don't think it is going to be all perfect, right? Many of these answers, had to be refined. ठीक है, but what is more important is that consistency. ठीक है, if this is in the starting to end वाला order, right, यहाँ पे answers will not be that great, and slowly it keeps getting better. So you have to understand. So again, carefully understand this. Struggle for 4 months, proper struggle. And after that, you actually become a completely different person, a completely different anthro ability आपका होगा, right? This level of work is equal to any ranker, ठीक है, any veteran, right? You're going to be going toe to toe with any of them, ठीक है? Any of them I basically showed you in those pictures. Some of them are also going to write again along with you to improve their rank, ठीक है? And you will be no different from them, ठीक है? You will be at their level, or maybe even, depending upon how you work, even a little higher. You understand, ना? Because आप में भूख है, ठीक है, and for them, they've already gotten their service, ठीक है, so you have a little bit of an edge. Is that clear? So, and they just, like those who have made it to the listener, they've actually just gone through this particular phase earlier, right? Exactly what you have done this. So don't look at the toppers and feel and feel distance. Okay, they have been on the same path, just that they have started a little earlier. Okay, there might be a few months or a year or two before you. So please don't quit midway. I'm telling you, it's going to be hard. Okay, but you want to do hard things because it's a hard exam, and you want to put yourself ahead of most people in anthropology, most people from any other optional as well. Okay, so the golden rule that I say is, you see to it that from today all the way till you write your prelims and mains, okay, please ensure that there are no backlogs. ठीक है, and this is non-negotiable, I would say, because later वो backlogs are I generally say the backlogs are the worst thing in the world. It kind of is, okay, because you can even make up for those backlogs, but how much it kind of drains you thinking about the backlogs. अरे यार वो पॉलिटिका ये है, वो 2 lectures बाकी है, या मतलब environment के लिए ये है, या एंथ्रो का वो 2 classes miss हो गया because I had to. You get the picture, right? एक assignment आपने miss कर लिया, then it becomes 2, then it becomes 3, it might become 5. ठीक है, एक class miss कर लिया, then it became 1, it becomes 2, it becomes 3. ठीक है, so it becomes a little draining mentally. Okay, so ensure ki backlogs is one thing that you are not going to have. You have a headache, okay, you're not able to do it, okay, thoda sa you rest for a little bit, uske baad just somehow watch it that particular day and finish it. Okay, don't think that when I am in my peak capacity and peak alertness and peak everything, I'm going to do it. नहीं होता है, ठीक है. You're going to put in 6 to 8 hours a day, ठीक है. Not all 6 to 8 hours a day are going to be equally alert. ठीक है, जो करना है करना पड़ता है, ठीक है. So discipline, right? Finish this, right? It is not about motivation, and when you are in your that motivated kind of state, ठीक है, just stay consistent. Some days are going to be good, some days are going to be average, some days are going to be worse. 1/3. This is the only way, ठीक है, and that is that. Backlogs, ठीक है. And my expectation from you, right, as as your guide, somebody giving you direction, somebody who's going to motivate you, somebody who's going to get a lot of work done from you, right, is focus only on class notes and handouts. ठीक है, don't make this mistake जहाँ पे you become collect करके आजकल तो मतलब content is everywhere because it becomes so easy, right? So please don't let your material यहाँ वहाँ नहीं होना चाहिए, ठीक है. Just use one and become an expert in whichever material, and उस material से, ठीक है, you try to become the best at applying from that one, right? When you go and you think about a particular topic, right, you cannot be scanning different sources, right? So एक is more than sufficient. All of them have done the same thing. In fact, they started, if anybody has not made it at the first one, they had multiple, ठीक है, and then they had to sort of cut down and focus on ours, right, and then do it from there, right? एक attempt में आपका हो जाएगा, ठीक है. More importantly, focus on quality and not quantity, ठीक है. So as much as possible, try to keep material, and this is for your GS as well, ठीक है. Don't let it pile up, ठीक है. Mental capacity, ठीक है, हमारे सब brains are all limited, ठीक है. 1350 cc है हमारे लिए on average speaking, ठीक है. उससे ज्यादा नहीं होगा, ठीक है. So you try to ensure that do less but do it multiple times, ठीक है. Quality over quantity any day. Finish all the assignments on time. Please submit. Please don't email me asking me or messaging me or asking for any extensions, ठीक है. I know that you will not do it, ठीक है, because the deadlines are there for a reason, because it makes you, अगर थोड़ा सा you fell off the routine also, उसका 2-3 दिन पहले you will basically stay up late night and then get it done. Trust the process, ठीक है. उसको extend करोगे, अगला वाला delay हो जाएगा. That is a backlog, ठीक है. Trust the process, trust the deadlines. If you follow all of these things that I've just told you sincerely, I'm telling you, your improvement in anthropology is going to be like very, very quick. In 4 months, you can be, you're going to be much better than what you would probably expect. And most important thing, the final slide is about having fun. Okay, And that's the last thing. Okay, UPSC is tough, and no doubt about this, right? Nobody's making any not saying it's not. Okay, but don't make it miserable, right? Once you accept that this is going to be a struggle, think of yourself as, what, I'm going to give 2 years, and I'm going to give everything that I can for those 2 years. Okay, if it happens, great. If not, maybe I'm not there mentally at this particular stage of my life. Maybe some other day I'll have a little more maturity, a little more sort of drive, a little more whatever it is. ठीक है, but ये 2 साल वो struggle को मैं enjoy करने वाला हूँ या करने वाली हूँ. You get the picture? I'm going to give it everything that I have. And if you do it, I promise you will be in the list for sure. Okay? And especially anthropology. Anthropology is one of those few subjects where you actually understand humans better. It is a privilege to actually know and study all of these. Okay? And after this particular course, you will, whatever be it, right? Even if you're not in UPSC ka line, you will be able to look at society very differently, right? In a more mature kind of a manner. You'll be able to understand people, their behavior a lot differently, right? In comparison to the others. Of course, every day, every week, every month, there will be setbacks, and that is completely normal, right? You focus on what you can control. And what you can control is, am I putting in consistent effort? Am I going through that struggle every single day? Second thing is, food ke liye and all of that, right? Just ensure that you don't fall ill. Eat good food, drink good water, don't fall ill. Third one, you sacrifice anything that you want, but do not sacrifice sleep. Those are, that's not a healthy way, right? So healthy way में पढ़ो, because if you do, वहाँ पे अगर आप sacrifice करोगे, you will end up burning out, and I don't want you to do that. It is really possible, in ek means, just follow your guides for the other subjects, follow me for this particular subject. There'll be a lot of negativity, there'll be a lot of negative people around you. उन सबको somehow you try to find a way to stay away from all of them. Good things will happen. It is not just about clearing UPSC, which is of course my main sort of goal, but it is also about becoming better persons, better, more confident persons, to become better thinkers, more aware, and we'll take it step by step, right? And if you do this properly, I promise you, first mains mein, just like the others, right, you will have a very strong anthropology score, and a very strong rank is a very strong, very real possibility. So we'll start. And of course, I told you I'll come back to this, right? Okay, so hopefully, very soon when we are having another session, I should find, where do I place you? Okay, these are all our results. And let me tell you something very clearly, right? Barring 2 or 3 cases, Aditya being one of them, right? Aditya was my student for 2 years before this as well. And later, he would either do well in Anthro or in GS, but not both. Okay, eventually I brought him, you know what? Come here, Eki, do your essay and GS and everything with me, along with your Anthro. And he did. He knew how to sort of balance it. If Anthro is doing really well, we'll give a little extra time for GS and so on. Balance karke, literally he made it to, in fact, so well. You understand, no? So almost everyone that you see here is basically are people who cleared with just one mains attempt, with me. Okay. It's also very inspiring. You can go and check out their video. Okay, this particular student is also very inspiring. This particular student also very inspiring, because these are probably like more of you, right? Very young, very first mains. So rare breeds हैं, ठीक है? But just to tell you what is possible, and maybe you will understand कि इसको कैसे, like how do I do what they did? Okay, what did they do? ठीक है, वो भी आप देख सकते हो. And this is exactly what I want from you as well. ठीक है, I don't want any last minute preparation, because I'll promise you this, nobody did that. Okay, nobody did this last minute panic studying. Okay, everybody basically created a long-term structured prep, stacks of writing, right? And they struggle through. Okay, good days will be there, average days will be there, bad days will be there, blood, sweat, and tears, right? Understand this. Prelims is tough. Okay, you may clear this year, you may clear next year, you may clear whenever. Okay, and that is fine. But the year in which you have cleared your prelims, right, you get roughly 3 months for mains after your prelims to your mains, and these 3 months are not sufficient for learning everything from scratch, and definitely not a master's level subject. ठीक है, वो 3 महीने are only for competitions, only for execution. You come in as a topper and you execute an एक और test or एक और test or एक और test, and and you try to find, how do I basically get 1/4 mark here, 1/4 mark there, and so on. So building everything in those 3 months, okay, मतलब हमारा it'll collapse. It does not work, right? So what you have to do is, come back, reverse engineer करते हैं from this particular time all the way till 2027. Let's try to spend the next 4 months in building a very strong foundation, finishing syllabus properly, right? अच्छे से every nook and cranny of your syllabus you should know. That is my target. Please don't ask me which is important in syllabus and which is not. वो बाद में देखेंगे. In foundation, every part is going to be important, because क्या पता कि अगले साल, if they ask that, ठीक है, यू डोंट वांट टू वो इतना बड़ा रिस्क नहीं ले सकते हैं, सो एवरी पार्ट ऑफ योर सिलेबस इज गोइंग टू बी मोर इंपॉर्टेंट, ठीक है। बाकी सब हम टेस्ट सीरीज में करेंगे, ठीक है, एनी बाउंसर्स ये वो, यहाँ पे फाउंडेशन में इट इज सिलेबस, एवरी नुक एंड क्रेनी, एवरी वर्ड ऑफ योर सिलेबस इज इंपॉर्टेंट, वेदर क्वेश्चंस आए हैं नहीं आए हैं, because that is what you're expected to do. They give you questions, right? You're expected to find ways to connect it to your syllabus and then write from there. They don't want you to know anything outside of it. Is that clear? Okay. Do a lot of answer writing, do all these kind of things, and when prelims is over, okay, then you are ready to go toe to toe with any of them. Let's say if they are trying to improve their rank, repeaters honge, rankers honge, veterans honge, doesn't matter, okay, you don't just compete, okay, you should come on top, right? And you will come on top, right? And that is exactly what we are going to build for the next 4 months, right? In fact, I'm telling you this honestly, okay? This is, nowhere else you will see this. Very few places you would actually see that this level of consistency of students who are clearing in their very first proper mains attempt with me, okay? Very few places, okay? Very few students also make it, okay? But we do this again and again. Every single year we do this because it is possible. We know kaise karna hai, provided we are more scientific about it, more efficient about it, and we are more structured about it. And I promise you, you will do it as well. Okay, it is possible, it has been done. Okay, the proof is right in front of you. So let's do it properly from today. See you soon. Take care. Bye bye.